Time to talk to us. Tell us what is happening in Kajiado County.
Thank you, Waiga Mwaura. Good morning to you too. In Kajiado County, the residents are crying because of the water shortage, water crisis in the county. It has been a perennial thing that has been going on for years, and I've managed to talk to one. I will talk to one resident who will tell us about their problems in the water shortage in the town, in Kajiado town. Mama, karibu kidogo. Tueleze majina. Tueleza majina, shida zenu ambazo mnakumbana nazo kuhusu maji. Songa karibu, mtazame kamera.
Kwa majina naitwa Ines Wangari na nimekoka Kristo ni Bwana. Niko jirani hapa na KAG na hapa sana sana ndio tunapata maji, na tumekuwa na shida kwa muda kwa sababu hata kwa upande wa wanyama wamekufa sana ng'ombe, na sana sana hii Kajiado tunapata mapato kutoka kwa hizo ng'ombe. Zilikuwa zimekufa, zimetapakaa kila mahali, na hata kuna wakati hii maji ilikuwa imeharibika, so tulikuwa tunaumia.
Maji labda mnanunua kwa shilingi ngapi mkiletewa kwa nyumba? Maji fresh ya chungu, tueleze kwa ufupi.
Ukinunua, ukijileta unanunua kwa shilingi 5, lakini kama huna uwezo unauziwa mtungi kwa 20 kulingana na bei ya maji na ya kuleta. Na pia kama ni hii maji fresh, kuna inakuwa na season. Kuna ule wakati utauziwa mtungi wa 20 liters unauziwa na 60, kuna wakati hata utauziwa na 40 shillings.
Shida umekuwa ukiendelea kwa muda gani katika kaunti ya Kajiado, na wito wenu kwa maafisa wa maji ni vipi?
Hii shida imekuwa ikiendelea kwa muda mrefu, kwa sababu kama ni upande wa nini wa hapa KAG, utapata kama ni wakati mtu anauza maji, kuna wakati anachanganyikiwa kama akichukua pesa, utakuta saa nyingine wanavurutana na customer sababu nilikulipa sijakulipa. Na tena hii maji fresh tungearifu wao wakubwa wetu kama waweze kutuletea maji, sababu hata kwa wanyama sana sana kama ng'ombe hajapata chakula vizuri na apate maji huwa inamsaidia. Karibu.
Okay, I've not managed to get more people because maybe most of them are coming very early in the morning to come and fetch water. So that's the problem that has been going on in Kajiado County.
So much Nancy Kering for that update, just letting us know also what we saw in Kwale, dry taps is the same in Kajiado County as well. Now we switch gears now, and as we mentioned earlier, there have been varied reactions to the directive by Acting Education CS, Dr. Fred Matiang'i, and we should be showing you a picture of those yellow buses, that all school buses and vans should be painted yellow before the 31st of March. Matiang'i, who is also the Interior Ministry Cabinet Secretary, said the directive is in line with the Traffic Amendment Act passed by Parliament in 2016, which will also require school buses to have safety belts for all students. What are the implications of this directive? That's what we want to get into now, and let's get a brief comment from Asha Bikidusa in Mombasa County. Asha, what are residents of Mombasa County feeling in terms of their thoughts regarding these directives by the Acting Education CS?
Well, good morning, Wahiga. It is a sunny morning here in Mombasa, definitely because it's going to be an afternoon. And there have been varied reactions. You remember, during the weekend, NAT Secretary in Kilindini branch, Dan Alo, actually commented on the issue, and he said that it is a costly affair and it will be expensive for some schools. But now I'm joined by the director of St. Kevin Schools here in Mombasa, Mr. Kevin Nyongesa, who will be giving me a comment or two concerning that matter. Yes, Mr. Kevin, now tell me, as you are the owner of St. Kevin Schools and you are among the schools which has many buses, and are you going to comply with this directive? What do you think? Is it a costly affair?
It's not a costly affair as such, but it's only that the ministry and the CS should give enough time, and we are happy that he has extended the time to 30th of March, which is quite good for us, and we are going to comply.
And I've seen that your buses have not been painted yellow yet. Maybe what's the process? Are you going to paint them, and when?
We are going to paint them very soon. We were just waiting to at least gather some little school fees from opening of schools And as we continue, we have already purchased the materials, and before that date, everything will be done.
And Nat in Mombasa said that they'll go to court concerning this matter. What is your position?
I will advise them to take the directive of the CS, and if at all there's anything, let them ask for more time. And for government schools, they should ask for more funding, of which they will be provided automatically. So there's no need of going to court, because the CS is aware that it's a process that is official. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Nyongesa. Wahiga, you've heard there Mr. Kevin Nyongesa from St. Kevin Schools. He has said that they're going to comply with that directive anytime soon from now. And he said that despite that it is a costly affair, but not as such, and they'll make sure by the time it reaches 31st of March, they will have painted all their buses with yellow. And now back to you, Wahiga, in studio.
Thank you so much, Ashabiki Dusa, just for that update, letting us know what school heads think about that directive and how they are hoping that Jogoo House Education Ministry will go slow on enforcing it to allow school heads time to sort of put funding together and carry out this particular directive. Joining us in studio to talk about this briefly is Amos Kaburu from Twaweza, East Africa. We had also invited other stakeholders from the who are affected by this directive to join us in studio. Some of them, however, are trying to seek audience with the acting education CS at this very moment. They said they had been called for a meeting at Jogoo House, and so they will not be able to join us for that, for this particular discussion. But Amos, now that you've found time to be here with us, let me come to you. The directives have been given, pretty much no going back. How will these directives be enforced? What happens if a transporter has not repainted their vehicle by the 31st of March, for example?
Thank you, Wahiga. It's important to note that this is not just a directive, but it's a directive that is anchored in law. And therefore, there ought to be recourse mechanisms for seeking redress where people will feel that perhaps it's being violated, because being a traffic offense, therefore it's therefore a criminal offense. I'm not an expert on legal issues, but the point is that this is something that is backed up by a law. It is not just something that the cabinet secretary woke up in the morning and felt that schools should be painted yellow. It's actually an amendment to the Traffic Act of 2016. Therefore, I suppose that those who fail to comply will therefore have to face the law, not unless the cabinet secretary, who has got powers, could probably extend the deadline for compliance with the law.
Okay, so extending the deadline might make things a bit easier. There are those who say that painting a 40-seater school bus is not cheap. Some have quoted figures like 200,000 Kenya shillings. Who will foot the cost of this repainting? Those are, especially if you're talking about a school that has 15 buses, possibly doesn't that pose a challenge in these harsh economic times?
I think so. It's a little bit expensive, and maybe it speaks to the larger problem that we are having, that we are reforming. But I think the challenge also with the reforms is that they are a little bit sporadic and coordinated, and therefore if you are in the sector, it's very difficult for you to plan, because today you wake up in the morning, you're told that textbooks will be supplied. Tomorrow you wake up, something else is happening. The following day, the county education board has approved maybe that children should make an additional payment of 200 shillings. If you talk about private schools, they equally also go with plans, because you don't just expect to raise the fee to the schools just within a very short time and in the name of complying, because this being a law that was enacted by Parliament, I think not all the stakeholders would particularly be aware of this, and that would perhaps speak as to why, as to why many Kenyans are caught by surprise by this particular directive. So I think that
because it was in the law, so school heads should have started preparing themselves.
Wahiga, it's true that it's in law, but there are so many laws in this country which are not operational. The PBO Act was passed in 2013. Is yet actually to be operational. So I think there ought to be some little more stakeholder consultation, much as the ministry is not very comfortable with using the word consultation. But I think it's important to note that it's people who are involved in this process. If a school has got 10 buses, it is supposed to repaint them. And maybe it's just a school that has got 500 children. Definitely it has a serious financial implication. So I think it's important just to converse with them and also to allow the sector to breathe a little bit. Because if you are going to have every week you coming up with new changes, every day you are coming up with the new changes, then it's very difficult for people to plan.
It's not really coming up with new changes, it's enforcing of what was in the law that has not been enforced, and you've said so yourself.
Yes, it is true. But when you have got coming from different aspects, then schools are left without knowing whether they should be implementing or whether they should just be waiting for new policy directions that are coming. Yeah.
Okay. There also, when it comes to matters safety on the roads and transport, and this is something that you mentioned, some of the concerns that stakeholders have raised is, let's talk about the times when buses are supposed to be on the road, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. What happens when it comes to traffic jams? You know, Nairobi, Nakuru, Mombasa, notorious for that. So does that mean that, you know, and someone did actually ask me, does the CS expect bus owners to have police outriders to clear the roads so that students get home on time? Another person asked, what happens to functions like drama festival, etc.? The buses have to be out late at night. How are we going to put all these factors into consideration while also attempting to follow laws and directives?
Yeah, that's actually the bigger question, because I think we need to understand the law in the context in which it's supposed to be applied. Because considering that the factors that could attribute to children traveling would perhaps be outside the expected purview. So I think it's, however, important to agree that there are challenges in terms of the transport arrangements that the schools have, because we have this challenge of children being packed in vehicles like some gunias of bananas or whatever. You've got cases whereby children are picked up very early in the morning. In fact, some children are picked from their houses even as early as 5 in the morning, and you wonder what time children have to sleep. You've cases whereby some children are picked from school at 3 and they are reaching home at 7 p.m. all in the name of perhaps when people look at their business operating models of how to maximize. Therefore, we've got all these challenges. The case of what happened last year in Mombasa is something that creates a lot of worry for any parent, because if you delegate the responsibility of transporting your child to a school, then you expect some level of responsibility in the principle of stewardship, that the school will be responsible enough to handle your child with care. But you see, when you're called from school or from hospital that your child, there was particularly a hole in the van that the child was playing around it, and the child ended up being rolled over by the wheels, is rather unfortunate. So it is true that we are having these challenges, but I think even as we try to implement some of these drastic changes, we need to look at what is the success rate of some of these policy implications, so that we don't end up having laws that in terms of implementation and enforcement it becomes a big problem.
Okay.
Because,
I interrupt you there because we need to take a short break. We'll be right back. You're watching Citizen Extra.